Mr. Speaker, I'm sure the whole House will want to join me in wishing you, all members of staff, a Merry Christmas and indeed to all members, and a Happy New Year. And members from across the House will also want to join me in sending our warmest wishes to all our armed forces and all members of the emergency services, health and care workers, and especially those who will be working over Christmas, and not least those in our national mission to get boosted now. Mr. Speaker, this morning I had meetings with ministerial colleagues and others. In addition to my duties in this House, I shall have further such meetings later today.
Nick Smith.
Mr. Speaker, can I congratulate the Prime Minister and his wife on the birth of his baby daughter? Last week's
Snivelling toady.
Was it a success for you, Prime Minister?
Yes. I'm very grateful and I thank him for his kind words. And yes, it was, Mr. Speaker, because last week we showed that we are not only the party that is putting in the resources to fight crime with 10,000 more police already recruited, but we are the party that is finally getting tough on the drugs gangs that blight the lives of children and communities up and down this country, and we won't tolerate middle-class drugs use any more than any other kind of drug use, Mr. Speaker.
Wishing the Prime Minister and his family a happy Christmas. Mr. Speaker, last Christmas I joined the charity Severde in wrapping Christmas presents at Durga Bhawan Temple. I delivered a small number of the thousands of gifts the Hindu community had donated for children and adults across Samwell. Will the Prime Minister join me in thanking Severde, Deepak, Mandu and Reena, who I'll be joining again this Friday at West Bromwich Sri Krishna Mandir?
Yes, I thank my honourable friend for raising the work of Severde and for all the people of West Bromwich, Hindu community, who do make an incredible contribution to this country. And I'm delighted that the charity is again distributing donated gifts. Thank you to everyone involved, and particularly to my honourable friend for her efforts.
We now come to the Leader of the Opposition, Keir Starmer.
Hello everyone, welcome to PMQs with Graham Hughes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can I also wish you, everybody who works in this House and all members, a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And can I also send my congratulations to the Prime Minister and his wife on the birth of their daughter, and join the Prime Minister in supporting our armed forces and all those on the front line. Mr. Speaker, there were 200,000 Omicron infections on Monday. That's doubling every 2 or 3 days, and the NHS could be overwhelmed. So I want to start by encouraging everyone listening to this session to get their jabs and boosters. It's the best way to protect themselves, the NHS and their loved ones. Given the seriousness of the situation, does the Prime Minister agree that the 100 Conservative members who voted against Plan B measures last night voted against steps which are necessary to protect the NHS and to protect lives?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The government is taking a balanced and a proportionate approach to dealing with the pandemic, and the House voted through Plan B, I think, with Conservative votes, Mr. Speaker, and we will continue with the massive booster rollout to which he is a late convert. Since Friday,
what the fuck are you talking about?
We had to accelerate the booster programme in view of the data about Omicron. We've cut the timetable in half.
What?
Mr. Speaker,
yeah, before you told the
biggest
NHS,
vaccination
just announced
Monday
it
in the history
you caused the
of this
NHS
country,
website to crash, you daft
was
twat.
The second biggest vaccination achievement by the NHS ever. More than 500,000 jabs delivered, and the campaign continues to grow. I want to thank absolutely everybody involved. I want to thank all the British public for coming forward to get boosted now.
Mr. Speaker, we all hope that combined with the booster programme, Plan B will be sufficient to prevent the NHS from being overwhelmed. Nobody wants to see further restrictions, but the Prime Minister has quite rightly not ruled anything out. So can I take this opportunity to make clear to the Prime Minister that if further votes are needed to save lives and protect the NHS, Labour MPs will follow my leadership and we will always put the national interest first. Can I ask the Prime Minister to get his house in order so he can say the same about the members behind him?
Yeah, go on. Go on, you drug-loving turd pirate.
Further measures are needed as a House will understand if further regulation is needed. Of course, this House will have a further say. As for following his leadership, Mr. Speaker, they wibbled-wobbled.
Oh, shut up, you pompous-ass fart.
Over quarantine, and if we listened to him,
got snot hanging from his nose.
We wouldn't even have the vaccine rollout because we would have remained in the European Medicines Agency.
Oh, what? What? He's making Brexit into this. It's not even true. Europe has more vaccinated people in many of the countries than we have.
That's the reality, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, let me put that straight back in its box. The Labour Party showed the leadership yesterday that the Prime Minister lacked. Mr. Speaker, if it wasn't for Labour votes, his government wouldn't have been able to introduce vital health measures we need to save lives and protect the NHS. So weak is his leadership. His own MPs were wrong to vote against basic public health measures. But I can understand why they're angry with him. After all, the Health Secretary said this summer that relaxations of restrictions were irreversible. They weren't. Only last week, the government...
Order. I've been tempted by both of you a little bit too much. Think it's Christmas. That's the only reason you're going to remain Prime Minister. Keir Starmer.
Mr. Speaker, only last week the government was saying Plan B measures were not required. They are. Just like the rail revolution for the North. No one will have to sell their homes for social care.
Lies.
Just like no
lies.
tax rises.
He just lies. That's all he does. That's all Boris Johnson does. Lie
until
reality
upon
lie
catches
upon
up.
lie upon
Does
lie.
the Prime Minister understand why his own MPs no longer trust him?
Oh, yes.
Mr. Speaker,
You're untrustworthy, slimy little turd socket.
Pompously claiming that he wants to rise above party politics and support the efforts of the nation in delivering the vaccine rollout, and then he talks endlessly about party politics and plays political games. I think what the people of this country can see is as a result of what this government has done, with the decisions we've taken, the tough decisions that we've taken to deliver which he ducked, Mr. Speaker, to deliver
the tough decisions that your MPs don't back you up on, you slimy ass goblin.
Mr. Speaker, the fastest growing economy in the G7, and more jobs today, 500,000 more jobs today than there were when the pandemic began.
What's he talking about?
In action, Mr. Speaker.
Inflation is at 5.1%, motherfuckers.
Mr. Speaker, the only person undermining public confidence is sitting right there.
Yeah.
Here's the problem.
Douchebag.
His MPs are wrong to vote against basic public health measures, but they are not wrong to distrust him. Last week, the Conservative member for the Forest of Dean asked, why should people at home listening to the Prime Minister do things that people working in Downing Street are not prepared to do? Tory MP. The Conservative member for Shipley last week asked the Prime Minister, can he give me any reason at all why I shouldn't tell my constituents to treat these rules the same way that Downing Street treated these rules last year? Now, the Prime Minister's had a week to come up with a good answer. Has he done so?
Mr. Speaker, the answer is very, very clear, and it's there in what the public are doing, Mr. Speaker. Because
not you, though. Not you, you twat. You partying little twat. Having parties, pumping shit in our rivers, inflation at 5%. Having a party, he is. Having a fucking party. Dancing on the graves of 150,000 British people who have died under his leadership. The absolute pompous shit captain taking us down the river shit that he has filled with his Tory shit.
Of the over 80s in this country, 91% of those aged 75
out bullshit
to 79.
lyrics now.
Come
on, tell us some more. Tell us some more stats that you just pulled out your arse.
Of this country are focused on.
Oh, go fuck yourself.
And rather than the partisan trivia.
Party? You put the party into partisan, you twat.
He has a case to answer himself.
I think that's no, he hasn't come up with a good answer. For weeks now, he claims that no rules were broken. He claims he didn't know what was happening in his own house last Christmas. I don't believe him. His MPs don't believe him, and nor do the British public. He's taking the public for fools, and it's becoming dangerous. Because from today, anyone who tests positive for coronavirus faces a second Christmas in isolation. It will be heartbreaking for families across the country. The message from the government has to be, we know that following the rules won't be easy this Christmas, but it is necessary. Can the Prime Minister not see that he has no hope of regaining the moral authority to deliver that difficult message if he cannot be straight with the British public about the rule breaking in Downing Street last Christmas?
Yeah, all that rule breaking.
Mr. Speaker, I've
and in Conservative HQ.
That question before.
Right, so he's not going to look at it. Look at him smirking. He thinks it's fucking funny. He thinks it's funny that his lot were partying while people couldn't see their grands for the last time over Christmas last year.
Mr. Speaker.
You fuck-faced crotch hounds.
In a way, I mean, we haven't heard. I think what the British public want us all to do, frankly.
Fuck off,
what they want us all
fucking
to do
bin bag
is
full of manginas.
Focus on the matter in hand and continue to deliver the vaccine rollout in the way that we are. And I think it is an
it's all he's got now, isn't it?
fantastic thing
Vaccine.
that people are now coming forward
Vacuous.
in the way that we are, the way that they are.
Vacillating
45%
vaccine.
of people over 18 have now had a vaccine, Mr. Speaker, and I thank our amazing staff. I thank the NHS. I thank all the GPs. I thank the GPs. And we are. Well, you blocked the investment in there.
They blocked what investments? You smelly fucking turd dragon.
Investment in our NHS, Mr. Speaker.
What? How did they block it? What? They're not in power, you snivelling little shit. They're not in power. You've been in power for the last 10 years, you gobshite.
To avoid the 15-minute delay after they've been vaccinated, which I hope will encourage even more people to come forward.
Mr. Speaker, the virus is spreading once again, and lives and livelihoods are at risk. The British public are looking for a Prime Minister with the trust and the authority to lead Britain through the crisis.
Monumental turd biscuit.
Instead, we're burdened with the worst possible Prime Minister at the worst possible time. They're shouting now. Where were they in the lobby last night?
Yeah, not on your side, mate.
His own MPs have had enough.
Fuck waffle.
They won't defend him. They won't turn up to support him, and if he proposes them, they won't vote for basic public health measures. So at this time of national effort, the Labour Party stood up, shown the leadership that the Prime Minister can't, and put the health and security
So he's
of
gone,
the British people
support me. Oh yeah, a bit rich for him to be whinging about it now.
This is silly because I can't hear the question. I will hear the question.
Throw him out.
I don't think we need any more help from this front bench. I'm just dealing with this corner first before I come back. Can I just say, I understand it's the last PMQs and we're going to be coming back in the new year, but I do need to hear the question. And it may take a long time, but I will hear it. So please, I want to get through questions. I want you all to get away for Christmas. At this stage, you won't. Keir Starmer.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister is so weak that without Labour votes last night, vital public health measures wouldn't have got through.
Yeah, so weak.
But this country can't... Says it's not true. Oh, God. I haven't got...
Not true. He just lied. He just lied to Parliament. Did you hear that? He just lied. The numbers don't lie.
He's so socially distant from the truth. He thinks that that's not true. I don't know where to... We better press on. We can't go on with a Prime Minister who's too weak to lead.
From the truth.
So will the Prime Minister take time this Christmas to look in the mirror and ask himself whether he has the trust and authority to lead this country?
Mr. Speaker,
go on, you slimy fucking turd hammer.
Mr. Speaker, we won that vote last night with Conservative votes, as I told the House.
What?
I respect
What?
feelings and
You wouldn't have won it
anxiety,
had Labour not supported
that
it.
colleagues have about- of
You
course
daft
I do.
twat. Can you not
I
add up?
understand the anxieties, the legitimate anxieties that colleagues have about restrictions on their liberty, but I believe, and on the liberty of people, but I believe that the approach that we're
Wait
taking
to say thank you.
is balanced,
You're welcome.
proportionate
God,
and
shite.
right for this country. And let me tell you, Mr. Speaker, let me tell the House about some of he talks about leadership, some of the decisions, the tough decisions that I've had to take. I had to decide to stay out of the European ventilator scheme, so we had our own ventilator challenge.
What tough decisions that you had to take? What? Like, what?
I decided to go
Like,
ahead.
you decided to go
ahead
to
of
court
the rest of
to
Europe, ahead of the rest of Europe
not
with
let
the
anyone know that
vaccine
you had a
rollout,
child.
Mr. Speaker,
That was
which would
yours.
have been
Yeah, that was a tough
impossible
decision.
if we
Tough decision to
listened
give
to
Darius
him.
Guppy
I
the
decided to
address
go
of
ahead
someone he
with
wanted to
our
beat up. I guess that was a
society
tough decision.
and our economy
Divorcing your
and
two
our
wives
identity.
before you got with the one that you're with now. That was a tough decision. I bet boning that American
if we'd listened to him,
trollop
never forget,
on
we
the
would not
couch
now
while
have
the taxpayer paid
fastest
£128,000 towards her existence, I guess, as your fuck buddy, while your wife was being treated for cancer. I guess that was a tough decision as well. You monumental gobshite. Sounds like Billy Butler. Billy Bunter, sorry. Billy Bunter. Fuck the Dalek. And this is the result. Dalek in a shit wig.
We vaccinate, they vacillate.
What? Why are you cheering? You were voting against him last night, you gang of twats.
They play party politics, Mr. Speaker.
Are you a bit special?
Get
I
on
think he's a
with
bit
the
special.
job.
What the hell are they doing?
I'm amazed. I'm absolutely amazed that some of you wanted to catch my eye. Obviously you don't. Thanks for that. It's making my life easier. So don't be shocked when I wasn't going to put you in for that special question today. Let's come to the man of the moment, Dr. Liam Fox.
Oh, piss off,
Thank you,
Liam
Mr.
Fox.
Speaker. As we look forward
I'll
to
do what they do in the
2022,
WTO
one
when
of
this
the
guy
dates
enters
that
the
stands
fucking
out for me
room.
is the 21st of March, which will be International Down Syndrome Day. In thanking the government for the support, and indeed thanking all parties in the House for the support for the Down Syndrome Bill, can I ask the Prime Minister if he will give his personal commitment to ensure that we get that bill on the statute
So,
before
all these questions are
International Down
put in
Syndrome Day, when we will be the
advance, so
first
everyone
country in
knows
the
what the
world to do
question's going to
so.
be, and all the
We
Tory
talk about
questions always
global
like,
Britain.
can you
It
tell
can't
us about
just
how
be about
fantastic
trade
you are
and
as a
diplomacy,
leader,
it
and
must
how
also
great we
be
are
about
as a government,
values.
and how
Wouldn't that be a
compassionate we
great
are?
place for Britain to
So they
start?
might be bringing in a bill to help a group of people in society,
My right
well,
honourable friend
simultaneously
is a
fucking another
wonderful
group,
campaigner on
or
this
groups,
issue. He's completely
or,
right
you know, not even
about
like a
Down
small
syndrome.
group, like large
People, they
groups.
can have
People
poorer
weren't
health
born here.
outcomes.
Like this
This
motherfucker,
bill,
he
I
was
know,
born
does
in
aim
New
to
York,
improve,
boys and girls.
life
He's
outcomes for
he
people
had
with
American
Down
citizenship, which he
syndrome,
revoked
and we are
because he
pleased
didn't have to
to
pay
support it, and we
tax
will do
over
whatever
there.
we can to ensure the
This
prompt
little fucking
progress
nugget could
of this
become
bill.
President of the
Now
United
come
States
to
because
the
he's
Leader
born
of the
on
Assembly,
US soil.
Ian Blackford.
Ah, come on, Blackford.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can I wish you?
It's not a pantomime. Oh yeah, exactly. Carry on partying.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can I wish you, all your staff, all members in the House, a Merry Christmas and a good New Year when it comes, and send my thanks to those in the front line, our emergency service, our armed forces, for everything that they have done to get us through this year. Mr. Speaker, the public understands the threat that Omicron poses to all our people and to our NHS. But we saw from last night's vote, the Tories might be privileged enough to live in denial about this danger, but the rest of us have the responsibility to live in the real world. That means increasing public health measures and increasing financial support for businesses and workers. The Scottish Government is delivering £100 million from our fixed budget to support businesses. But we all know that more is needed. Yesterday, the UK Government put out a press release saying that new financial support was coming. But last night, the Treasury U-turned saying no new money was available. So, Prime Minister, which is it? Is there any new money to support businesses? Or was it all just smoke and mirrors once again?
I'm grateful to the right honourable gentleman. I share some of the points that he made about the importance of being vigilant about Omicron. I think it's good that he set that out. I think it's important that we continue to work with the Scottish administration as we do to help everybody through it. There is more money, as he knows, through Barnett consequentials. There are also further powers under the existing devolutionary settlement for the Scottish administration to raise money if it chooses to. And they have that option. But we will of course continue with the discussions with the Scottish administration.
Ian Black.
Mr. Speaker, that simply wasn't an answer, and it really just does confirm it's all smoke and mirrors. There was no new money for Scotland. Once again, the Prime Minister can't trust a word that this Prime Minister says. Dodgy dealings on renovations and his distant relationship with the truth. All of it has left him weak. Last night, this UK government struggled to get measures through this House that Scotland has had for months. A Prime Minister who can't do what is needed to protect the public is no Prime Minister at all. Mr. Speaker, nobody wants further restrictions, but Scotland can't afford to be hamstrung if the Prime Minister can't act because he's got 99 problems behind him. So will he give the devolved governments the powers and financial support that we need to protect our people?
Mr. Speaker, I think we're going to need a bit bigger waist to contain the synthetic indignation of the right honourable gentleman.
Synthetic indignation. We were just pretending to be outraged by your fucking buffoonery, you fucking cunty clown car on fire and fucking half-dismantled shopping trolley careering down a fucking cliff. Useless sack of shite. Absolute bag of mangled twats.
With the right honourable gentleman who I'm actually quite cordial with behind the scenes. Mr. Speaker, we will work with the Scottish Government to make sure that we get through this thing together.
Sir Robert Neal.
Right, there'll be a
Thank you,
softball
Mr.
question.
Speaker.
I don't know if you should even listen to this one.
Stroke is the leading cause of adult disability.
They're really going in for the medicine stuff here.
It's the fourth
We're
largest
going to help
We've made much
things.
progress.
Yes, well, dismantling the NHS.
Years, key treatments like thrombectomy, thrombolysis and timely interventions in hospital have actually stalled and gone backwards. In particular, most stroke survivors do not receive less than half the recommended levels of rehabilitation, something which the Prime Minister knows my own family have experienced. Can we urgently look to upgrade the very good National Stroke Plan into a fully fledged national strategy for stroke, with a minister responsible for it and a dedicated team of officials in the department to roll that out, please?
I want to thank my right honourable friend for that question. I know his, he and I have discussed before his own personal reasons for caring so much about this issue. And I understand and I sympathise deeply with what he's saying. And that's why one of the reasons why I want to make sure that we do invest enough in this. There are 20 integrated stroke networks in England already. What we want to do is increase their capacity by about tenfold. Mr. Speaker, very happy to make sure that he has the right meeting with the relevant minister to discuss the matter. But that's why it's so important that we invest now in our NHS in the way that we are. And what a pity that essential measure could not be supported by the party opposite.
Oh, piss off, you fucking
Speaker, the Prime Minister's actions over the last number of months have absolutely eroded public confidence at the worst possible time in a public health crisis, excusing rule-breaking by his own MPs, ignoring rule-breaking in his own House. He can't even lead Tory MPs to vote for his public health guidance. How does he expect to lead anybody else? Surely now it is time, Mr. Speaker, for him to do the right thing, the only thing left to him to restore public confidence, and resign.
Yes.
No, Mr. Speaker, I'm going to get on with protecting the public.
No, I'm not going to resign.
And
far too
sure,
much of a cunt.
That we get through this pandemic together as one United
the
Kingdom.
Most useless leaders
sure that we protect,
in living memory.
trade,
Actually, just in history,
Great
I think.
Britain and Northern Ireland
55
in
Prime
I know
Ministers.
He would want it protected.
The law of diminishing returns, I fear.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. In East Anglia, there are, on the one hand, tremendous opportunities in such sectors as low-carbon energy and sustainable fishing.
Peter
Adolf, significant challenges with deep pockets of deprivation, particularly in coastal communities. I acknowledge the investment has been made, but there is a concern locally that the government has yet to comprehend the scale of the opportunity that our region has to be a global exemplar in new and revitalised industries. And in
like
doing
what?
So,
Give us an example,
transformative and
bucket.
long-term benefits
Come
to
on.
local people.
Come on.
Will my right
Give
honourable
us a
friend
fucking
meet with other East
example,
Anglian
you
MPs and
fucking
myself
turd-eating
so that
twat.
together we can put in
Come on.
place a strategy to realise the full
Flatterdy.
potential of the East of England.
Bloody hell.
Yes, Mr.
Guys, the
Speaker,
opposite
but
sex.
I also want to say
yes.
that I understand completely the massive opportunity that exists in
What?
and the potential that
What
exists
opportunity?
in those coastal
What opportunity? There's
communities
193
and,
members
that
of the
is why
United
we're
Nations,
investing
and
150
153 of them
million
are
already
fuck
in
poor.
5 new town deals, including for Lowestoft. Mr.
This is
Speaker,
global
and,
opportunity.
I'm sure
What
that my
is he
right
talking
honourable
about?
friend, the Secretary of State for
Nearly
levelling
all
up,
the rich countries in the
will
world
want to be,
are in
taking these
Europe.
points on board as we bring forward the levelling up white paper in the new year.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the Prime Minister believe that it is the damage being caused by Brexit, his litany of broken promises, his condoning of Conservative Party corruption, or just simply his complicity in lockdown, busting, Christmas parties and quizzes, which has caused the public to so dramatically, so rapidly lose faith in his leadership?
Mr. Speaker, what I observe is that actually it was our freedom from the rules of the European
Freedom
Union.
from the rules, that you
enabled
set,
us to be the fastest
that allowed you to have
vaccine
Christmas
rollout
parties last year,
in Europe.
while everyone else
That has
had to
enabled
wave
us
to Granny
to have
through a
the fastest
fucking
economic
window
growth
the last time
in
they
the
saw her in the
G7,
hospice.
and that is of
Thanks for
massive
that,
benefit
cunt
to each
face.
and every one of his
Oh,
constituents.
fuck off, you
I think you
blonde
should acknowledge that
twat.
point.
Snooty fucking
Thank you,
establishment
Mr. Speaker.
gobshite.
One of the significant achievements of this government is the work it's done with local authorities to tackle rough sleeping. 5 years ago, 36 people were sleeping rough
gonna
in the
disappear
Newbury
now.
area.
I'll be back in a
This
moment.
Christmas,
Bye.
West Berkshire Council have reduced that to 0.
I'm still here.
But they can only sustain that success with the help of additional support services to tackle the complex causes of homelessness. What action will the government take through its new 10-year drug strategy to intercept the link between addiction and life on the streets?
Yes.
Great question.
My honourable friend is completely right to draw the link between drug addiction and rough sleeping. And that's why our drug strategy is so absolutely vital for tackling this problem. I also want to thank local councils, Mr. Speaker, and everybody involved in the Everyone In campaign. I think that homelessness and rough sleeping are a blight and a disgrace, a shame for our society. I'm proud to say that levels are falling. Our rough sleeping snapshot shows levels have fallen 43% since 2017, though clearly as we come out of the pandemic,
come on, get on with it.
in the next
This is
year
boring.
or so,
get on with
we
it.
must make sure
get on with
we
it, you
continue,
monumental
to
cockhounds.
reduce rough sleeping.
Come
It is
on.
an absolute priority.
Come on,
for
you
this government.
fuck noodle.
Ben Lake.
Mr. Speaker, with the emergence of the Omicron variant and a rising number of COVID infections, more and more people are being asked to self-isolate, to stay at home, to look after isolating children. I've been contacted by people in Ceredigion who have been excluded from isolation support payments as they are not in receipt of benefits or above the weekly earnings threshold. Will the Prime Minister act urgently to increase statutory sick pay, which currently stands at a mere £96.35 a week, so that people in this position do not have to choose between following public health regulations or putting food on the table?
I thank him very much, and I understand the difficulties some families will find themselves in. We want to look after everybody throughout the pandemic, and that's why we've done things like lift the living wage in the way we have, increased the funds available for childcare, but also made sure that the councils have an extra hardship fund of £500 million to help families of the kind that he's describing through this winter.
Kieran Mellon.
Right.
Thank you very much,
okay.
Mr. Speaker.
I think we're going to leave it there. So, yeah. Hello, and welcome to another round of PMQs with Graham Hughes. It rhymes. Oh, yes. It is Wednesday, the 15th of December 2021. Yes, folks, we've made it halfway through, almost halfway through. The second worst year of our lives so far after 2020. Well, I mean, actually, maybe third after 2016. Maybe fourth actually after 2019, which is pretty shit as well. You know, started off with great hopes that we could stop this whole Brexit bullshit, and ended up with an election in the middle of fucking winter. That didn't need to happen. It only happened because Labour and the Lib Dems voted for it. The dickheads. Anyway, the people who were in charge of Labour and the Lib Dems are no longer in charge of Labour and the Lib Dems. So let's move on, shall we? All of us. Yes, let's move on. He snorted the lime but didn't inhale, says Skullfucker 2000. Oh, got loads of messages. He actually showed up to PMQs. I don't know if you're talking about me or Boris Johnson. Someone should play Peppa Pig's song in the background. I'm having a nice joint and a tall glass of amaretto. Yeah, he snorted the lime but didn't inhale. No, he sneezed, didn't he? Was that what he said? Because he saw that in a Woody Allen film and thought it was funny. That's your man. What a clown. Boris the clown. What potential do coastal communities have now? You've stolen and taken all their potential away completely. I know. That was hilarious. He's like, I'm getting the massive potential of global Britain. And I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake, we've done this. There's no fucking money out there. There's no money. It's like your dad falling for a pyramid scheme or something and losing the house. And they're like, no, it'll be fine. We got the money from the pyramid scheme. And you're like, no, Dad, we lost that. That's why we're living on the streets, you daft twat. What the hell? But what about the money in the pit? Oh, there's no money out there for us, okay? I know there's a lot of money in the world. I get that. It's mostly held in the hands of a handful of billionaires, yeah. Soon to be the first trillionaire, I think, on the planet, which is going to be absolutely fucking disgraceful, but there you go. However, the reality is that the money that's locked away in these places around the world, whether it's because they've got gold or diamonds or coltan or, I don't fucking know, bauxite so we can make aluminium, we can get copper, I don't know. Whatever the raw materials they have locked up in these places. You know, we can buy it. That's great for them. But they've got no money to buy stuff from us. Go into the bank and say, hey, I've got this great idea for a business. And the bank manager's like, okay, what's the idea? Okay, so what I'm going to do, right, is I'm just going to buy loads of stuff from around the world. Yeah? And that's it. That's the business plan. That's the business plan right there. One sentence, I'm going to buy loads of stuff from around the world. What are you going to sell? Nothing. So you're not going to sell anything? No. Whew. Okay, well, you're not getting this fucking loan, I'll tell you that now. Because I'm here, Joni. 96 a week. I wouldn't get out of sick bed for that. What's that for? £96 a week? I have no idea why this was marked not safe for work, says Joni. I have no fucking idea either. Man talks about global opportunity while dissing the largest global market on a doorstep. Exactly. That's from Vishek. You're 100% on the money there. That must be it, Duke. Live commentary must have been immaculate after all. Panel boy, hello, did I miss much? Couldn't follow PM's evasions due to work. Phil Morehouse is blaming the SNP for the 2019 election. What? Oh, no. Like, no. I don't even think if the SNP had just voted for it on their own and no one else has voted for it from the other parties, then you could blame the SNP, but Labour voted for it. The Lib Dems voted to have an election in the middle of frickin' winter. When the left was completely shattered into these different warring factions that hated each other with absolute insane spite. And I tell you now as well, I'm not happy with Labour. Not happy with Labour this week. Because what did they do? They brought Angela Rayner in North Shropshire to try and shore up the Labour vote in fucking North Shropshire, where they stand no chance of winning. Last Friday, the not just the polls, but the bookies, which are always the best place to look, the bookies had the Lib Dems as the favourite. Today, they have the Conservatives as the favourite, because the last couple of days, the Labour have been campaigning hard in North Shropshire. taking votes away, not from the Conservatives, but from the Liberal fucking Democrats. And like, you see Boris Johnson weathering these storms. He can weather killing 150,000 people. He can weather his chief advisor going for an eye test in Barnard Castle. He can weather the 5.1% inflation rate caused by his Brexit. He can weather the fact that it all are lies about Brexit. He can weather the fact that there is now a border between Great Britain and Northern Ireland. He can weather the fact that he has fucked so many women over the course of his life. We don't even know how many children this motherfucker's got. He can get away with all of that. That's no problem to him. No skin off his nose. He can weather 99 members of his own party voting against him. The second biggest rebellion against a sitting Prime Minister in history. And he can weather it all because he's Boris Johnson. But if he loses North Shropshire tomorrow, things are going to change. Things are going to change very, very, very fucking rapidly. Because his party will go, oh, he's an electoral liability. And that's the point where they'll get rid of him. Before then, they won't. They just simply won't. Because he's the ghost. He's the ghost. He's the ghost that lays the golden eggs. He's the goose that lays the golden eggs, as far as the Tories are concerned. He is Teflon Johnson. He gets away with fucking murder. Literal fucking murder. He tells the country that they can't visit their dying grandmothers in hospital. And he has a fucking knees up at his place. Not just one, but 8 that we know of. And who resigns? A woman and a black guy. Well, that's interesting. Thanks for that. Gobshites. So yeah, Boris Johnson. Fucking untouchable. Untouchable. But when he starts losing by-elections, that's when the Tories start shitting their pants, because the Tories have no ideals. They have no morals. They have no problem with going back, U-turning, changing their mind, doing one thing, then doing another. They could be campaigning for fucking rejoining the EU in a couple of years' time. It would be no skin off their nose, because the Conservatives are not an ideological party. They don't go into politics to make the world a better place, to make Britain a better place, to make you and I richer, to make our lives happier, longer. They don't do that. They go into politics for one reason alone, that's to make money. Okay? And the best way to make money is to be in power. And that's what the Conservative Party is. It is a machine for winning elections. And that's all they care about. And that's why they will do any dirty fucking trick they like in order to achieve that. And we look back now over the weekend and we say, oh, well, you're talking about the Formula One. And Hamilton was robbed. They changed the rules halfway through the last lap of the race, which allowed a guy who had just got new soft tyres, which are faster, right? To be a one-lap shootout with a guy with knackered old hard tyres, which have already been like 30 laps around the circuit, right? What happened? Well, the guy on the brand new tyres overtook him. Of course he did. He had a faster fucking car. It's like 2 cars on it might go, and like one of them's like a Ford Fiesta, and the other one's a bloody, I don't know, a Bugatti Veyron. Of course that's going to happen. And I'm watching that, and people are going, oh, that's not going to stand, it's not going to stand, Graham, it's not going to stand, the lawyers are going to get involved, it's not going to stand. And I'm like, bullshit. Have you not learned anything in the last 21 years? Well, I fucking have. Do you know what I learned? The cheaters always win. If you want to win, you need to cheat as well. Because that's the only way to get anywhere in this fucking life, unfortunately. And this all started with the 2000 election of, what's his name? Gobshite. George W. Bush against Al Gore. Actually, it started when I was in university. A few months earlier, when I ran in 2000, I ran for General Secretary of Manchester Student Union. And I only lost by like 6 votes, 12 votes I lost by. 12 votes out of thousands. And there was a rule that said that you couldn't send out emails on behalf of any particular candidate. And yet an email went out to every single member of ISOC, the Islamic Society, promoting the guy I was running against. And I said, well, this is not fair. This is not fair. Also implying that I was both gay and Jewish. I wouldn't mind being either of those things. Wouldn't bother me at all. But apparently that's something that some people, not all, people in the Islamic Society, wouldn't really want to vote for whatever reason, okay? Not going to get into that. But the point is that the other guy's side fucking cheated, and because his girlfriend was the current General Secretary and his ex-girlfriend, who he's still friends with, was the returning officer, I got stitched up to fuck. And the stitching up went so far as it went to a council meeting, right? And it was 15-16 to not rerun the election, which they should have done because it was unfucking fair. This wasn't about handing me the election. No, I was saying we should rerun it because the result was not fair. Because this email went out to hundreds of students and lost by 12 votes. For fuck's sake, in whose fucking realm of reality is that fair? And I lost by 1 vote in the council, and that 1 vote was the head of the sports society. You know, those fuckers in the athletics union that took over the cellar in Manchester at the time, the cellar club, the cellar bar in Manchester every Wednesday night, put snakebite all over their fucking stupid, privately educated heads and behaved like fucking braying arseholes, a lot of them, mostly the rugger buggers. But yeah, she was the head. She'd never been to a council meeting before of the Manchester Student Union, never been to one. She turned up for that one and she voted so there wouldn't be another election. Who was she? She was the flatmate of the current General Secretary, who was the girlfriend of the guy I was running against. Oh my God. And that was my first and last, what I wanted to be my last foray into any kind of fucking politics. Because it's all like this. Just fucking cheat. Just cheat, and you'll win. 2000, later that year, 2000, in November, you had George W. Bush. And this big problem with the voting machines not working and not stamping the papers correctly. And you had these hanging chads, which is where they tried to punch holes. That for some reason, they had this big thing where you pulled it down like a old one-arm bandit, you know, a jackpot machine, fruit machine. You pulled it and it's supposed to stamp the paper on the candidate that you want. And some of them it didn't stamp through correctly. And they were like, oh, does this count? And it went to a recount in Florida, the last state, the state that decided it. And it got down to about 500 votes. This is out of a population of over 300 million people. And it got down to 500 votes. And they stopped the recount. The Supreme Court of Florida stopped the recount. Who was the governor of Florida at the time? Jeb Bush. The motherfucking brother of the guy who was running for fucking president. A guy whose dad had been president before. Cheats always win. Cheat. A year later, you had a guy from Saudi Arabia, privately educated, of course, and a guy called Osama bin Laden. You might remember him. Very, very fucking rich. Rich, neo-aristocratic cunt. And I'll tell you a little secret about him. He didn't want America to stop existing. He didn't want to destroy the great Satan. He didn't give a fuck about any of that. His demand, and the thing that he went on about when people bothered to interview him, was, and ask him, like, what do you want? He went, I want all of the American air bases out of Saudi Arabia. Because in the Iraq War in 2001, the Kuwait-Iraq War, in 1991, sorry, the Americans put a load of air bases in Saudi Arabia, and the Saudis see their land that was gifted them by some British cartographer back in the day. They see their land as sacred and holy and very important to them, and they can't have these bases in Saudi Arabia, and that's what he wanted. He wanted rid of them. Within a couple of years of the 9/11 attack, which was orchestrated, masterminded by Osama bin Laden, the Americans got rid of all the bases. He could have asked nicely, old Osama bin Laden, but he decided to cheat instead. Make a big fucking ruckus, upset the balance of stability of the world. Fast forward to 2008. I'm sorry I'm going on a bit of a rant here, but it really fucks me off. Those motherfuckers who caused the global fucking financial collapse of 2008, the credit crunch. Yeah, remember that? Literally thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people all over the world lost their homes. Not one fucking banker went to jail in America. Not one of these stock portfolio motherfuckers in London went to jail. No one got punished for that. The biggest heist in human history. Nobody got punished for it at all. They cheated. They walked away scot-free. If you want to get ahead in this world, kids, cheat. Just keep cheating. Cheat. And even if you get found out, just deny it. Just fucking deny it. Then we move forward to 2016, the fraudulendum, in which the Russians, we know, influenced the result, in which Vote Leave broke the law, Leave.eu broke the law, Believe broke the fucking law, and they all got away with it. If it had been a real referendum, a legally binding referendum, it would have had to be rerun. But because it was just advisory, it didn't. And do you know what really fucks me off? And I hate to go on about, the past and stuff, but it is relevant to what's happening even to this day. When last night, one of the people I hate most in British public life at the moment, along with who's not a Tory. I mean, there's not that many. Because I regard Nigel Farage and all that lot as a Tory. But the only one who's not a Tory, I think he actually is the former leader of the Labour Party, whose name I will not say. And last night he was on his feet. He was on his feet in Parliament saying that he was going to march through the division lobby with the Tory rebels, with the Brexiteers. Don't forget, this is the thing. The Labour Party and the Lib Dems and the SNP, they never promised to implement the referendum result. They never promised that. That was a Conservative promise. That was a promise made by the Conservative Party. It was not up to Labour to fulfil that promise. It never fucking was. But they got away with it. And then in 2016 as well, the cheating that went on by nefarious actors in the Trump election. He fucking cheated his way into the White House. He lied. He cheated. He basically made up a load of bullshit about fucking. Do you remember Hillary Clinton's emails? Do you remember this shit? This is why I'm not on my high horse about Julian Assange. Honestly, that guy spends the rest of his life in jail. Meh. He helped George W. Bush. He helped Donald Trump become president. Mixing me words up here. This is why you should always record stuff beforehand. Don't do it live. So when you say the wrong word, no one knows. Just edit. He helped Donald Trump become president. He released all this dirt on Hillary Clinton, on the DNC, the Democratic National Committee, or whatever it stands for, the Democrats in America. Nothing on Trump. Nothing. Didn't go after his tax returns, didn't try and find out who he owed money to, Deutsche Bank, some shady Russian financiers. We're not going to look into that. We're just going to look into Hillary Clinton. Give him some ammunition. But her emails. Anyway, so he cheated his way to the top. And then, when he got kicked out by the electorate last November, he decided, November before last now, bloody hell, time ticks on, he decided that he was not going to accept that result. And he still doesn't accept the results. He cheated. And then he had his people overrun the Capitol, which in any other country in the world, that would have led to that man going to jail. Or maybe even having his fucking head chopped off, depending on what country it was. Jesus Christ. That was a coup. That was a coup against the government of the elected government of the United States of America. And he got away with it. Oh my God, and he's going to keep getting away with it. The Tories are going to cheat on the next election by, first of all, gerrymandering the lines, the constituencies. They're also going to bring in voter ID, which means that a lot of people who would never vote Conservative will not be able to vote. Will not be able to vote because they haven't got a passport or a driving licence. People who aren't interested in politics, they don't want someone like the million people who voted in the Brexit referendum who had never voted before. They don't want those motherfuckers voting in any elections in the future. If you're not that interested in politics and you have to apply to the council for an ID card, oh, fuck that, I can't be arsed. It's hard enough getting people out on a wet Thursday afternoon anyway to go and vote. Why it's a Thursday is... Why isn't it a Sunday? Why isn't it a fucking Sunday when most people are off work? Why not? You can't have it on the Sunday. It's tradition to make it awkward for the little people who, only have one job. So all these people in Parliament at the moment They're all cheaters. Not all of them, sorry, the Conservatives mostly. They all have second, third, fourth jobs. They're all getting money, backhanders, off these big companies and then using their influence in government to leverage even more money out these fucking companies. And they get away with it. Boris Johnson cheated on all his wives. He's never faced the wrath of anyone for doing that. He lied to the Prime Minister. He lied to the Queen. He got away with it. He cheated. They illegally prorogued Parliament. They got away with it. They cheated. They cheat and they cheat and they cheat. And so, look, if we're going to learn anything from these motherfuckers, if you can't beat them, join them. Cheat. That's it. That's the way forward. That is the way to get into power in this cunt of a country, is to cheat. Problem is, on this side, we seem to have morals, and we didn't go to some posh private school. So, our voice is not worthless, but worth less than someone who did have a privately privileged education. If you don't believe me, pop over to eatingdisorder.uk and have a look at that list. It's growing every day. It's growing every time. Marcus Fish, I'd never heard this fucker's name before this week. Marcus Fish comparing wearing a fucking mask. What? Or a vaccine pass on your phone to get into a nightclub, comparing it with the Nazis. What? There was a guy who called up LBC yesterday and he told this heartbreaking story about his mother who was on the kinder transport, which meant, one of the children that were ripped from the bosom of their family, because Britain didn't want to take the adults. They just thought, okay, we'll take the children. We don't want to take the adults. It's too much money. We don't like refugees. We don't like foreigners. So 10,000 children were rescued from the Nazis. And, they were rescued. No doubt about that, but isn't it sad that they couldn't have stayed as a family unit? So this guy's mother was part of the kinder transport, and he was born in the 50s, and when he was 4 years old, his mother left the house and killed herself because she just found out that her entire family had been killed by the Nazis. Her entire family, everyone in their family. And he's on the radio and he's saying, I can't remember being held by my mother. And he's in tears. And you listen to this going, oh my God. And this Marcus Fish fucking creep is saying, oh, that's just like, having to get vaccinated, isn't it? Against a deadly fucking pandemic, a deadly disease that has already wiped out over 5 million people around the world. 700,000 of them American, 150,000 of them British. So I go, oh God, here we go. Type it in, Google, Marcus Fish, bring up his Wikipedia page. Did he go to private school? Of course he fucking did. Of course he fucking did. And it's just like, oh, for God's sake. Every actor, every presenter, every journalist, every hack, every opinionist, every influencer, every fucking politician who fucks me off, every single one of them, pretty much, went to a private school. I'm sick of it. And I'm not giving up on this. And then someone gets on Twitter. Get off your high horse, Graham. Basically, someone telling me to tone police. You know what tone policing is? It's when someone who is of a higher standing than you in the community, for whatever reason, in the UK, we have a caste system, we have a class system, in which if you are born rich, or you're very lucky and you get a scholarship, you get to go to a private school, and that puts you on an upper level. And any achievement that you make in your life is you. It's all you. It's all on you. It's not because you went to a posh privileged school and you knew people from that posh privileged school who could lend you £50,000 to start your business with no interest. Oh, fuck yeah. Not onto that at all. It's their own hard work, basically. But other people just don't work as hard as they do. Yeah, right? Yeah, if you say so, mate. When you point out this horrific inequality in society caused by the fact that literally everyone you see on TV pretty much went to private school, pretty much everyone. Whether they're an actor or a presenter or a politician or the head of the Metropolitan Police or the head of the Church of England or the fucking head of state. Benefits of private education, old chap. What does he say? Dayar, benefits of a classical education? When he quotes someone talking about Alexander weeping for there were no more worlds to conquer. Benefits of a classical education. Is that what he says? Classical education? He means private education because he had the money to set up a heist like that. You need to speculate to accumulate. So obviously Hans Gruber had a bit of cash before he decided to become a world-class bank robber, which essentially he was. Right, we'll get to Level Earth in a minute, hopefully. Oh, well, you know, I have a tendency to go off on one, Tommy, so sorry about that. Hamilton should have been given the place back at the start. They hung the wrong chads back then. Well, no, the thing is that essentially the people who won kind of unfairly in that race, they still won. You know that in 2012, when the Russians were doping all their athletes and, you know, making sure they won all the gold medals and stuff, and everyone said, "Oh yeah, I'm getting a phone call. Who's calling me? Why is someone calling me while I'm going live? Don't they realise I'm live at the moment?" Soraya, I will call you back. God damn it. Check if you're going to call me, and then obviously not watching this, but just go on Facebook and it'll come up in the corner. Graham Hughes is live now. If it says Graham Hughes is live, please don't call me. Anyway, I will call her back. Don't worry, no problem whatsoever. No, but what I was saying before I got distracted by a buzzing in my pocket is that the bank bailout was criminal. No, you only get to cheat if you come from a good family. Yeah, that's true, Luke. Well, you only get to cheat if you've got the money to do so. So Russia, for example, cheated like motherfuckers in the Olympics. And probably in the Olympics before then, they've been cheating and getting away with it. It's a state-sponsored cheating, state-sponsored doping. The government, the people in charge, the Olympic Committee of Russia knew what was going on. And they were doping their athletes to make them win because they wanted to win gold, silver medals. Because the thing is, Russia's quite a weak country. It's quite a weak, pathetic little country full of pathetic leaders like Putin who are desperate to cling on to power by any means necessary. They're probably going to invade Ukraine in the next week or so, thanks to that Christmas invasion. Wasn't that an episode of Doctor Who? Only a bit more horrible because, you know, the people of Ukraine haven't really done anything to deserve being invaded by Russia. You know, just like the people of Georgia didn't do anything to be really to be invaded by Russia. It's just Russia could do it and knew it could get away with it. Like it knew it cheated in 2008 when it invaded Georgia. I mean, it cheated international rule and got away with it. Flaunted international laws and got away with it. Idi Amin of Uganda, he lived till a ripe old age and he died in a mansion in Saudi Arabia in exile. This is a guy who pushed disabled people into a fucking lake and drowned them. Yeah, Robert Mugabe, he lived to a ripe old age, didn't he? What was he, 95 when he died? Yeah. Nice job for some. You know, this guy who murdered not just the white farmers of Zimbabwe, but he also murdered a lot of homeless people who were living in Harare, who decided to do drive out the trash campaign, where he basically had them all shot. What a lovely bloke. He broke the rules. Pol Pot, he broke the rules. He murdered a third of his own population because they wore fucking glasses or they knew how to spell. He got away with it. He died of old age as well. So yeah, that's the lesson. Cheat. So Russia says, oh yeah, we're sorry about doping all those athletes. And the IOC say, well, young people, you Russia, you can't participate in the next Olympics then. And they go, oh, okay, we won't participate in the next Olympics. And then there they are, participating in the next Olympics this year. As the Russian Olympic Committee, the ROC. What the fuck? No, you can't participate. You got a Russian passport, you can't run. You can't jump. You can't sail. You can't ski. Well, that's the Winter Olympics, but still. Is water skiing an event? It should be. Seriously, they got away with it. Qatar 2022. There's no fucking way on earth that the fucking World Cup should be in fucking Qatar. Qatar is a nasty little dictatorship. They built the stadiums that they needed because they didn't exist. Like, you know, if they had the World Cup here or in France or in Spain or in Germany or in Italy, the stadiums are already there. You don't need to do anything, really. The stadiums are already there. You just use the stadiums that you usually use through the winter months for the leagues, and you use them for a couple of weeks in the summer, and that's how it works. No. Purpose-built stadiums. Eight purpose-built stadiums in the fucking desert of Qatar, where it regularly hits 40 degrees Celsius. 40 fucking degrees. So they've had to move it. So it's later in the year, so it's a bit cooler, because they can't have it in the middle of summer, because it'd be too fucking hot. Who did they get to build those stadiums? Slave labour from India and Bangladesh and Pakistan. Oh, that's nice. Thank you very much. They would bring people over, take their passports off them, say they have to work their passage. You know, like indentured labourers of old. Basically, slaves. And the health and safety on these fucking stadiums was horrific. And literally dozens of people died building these big bastard stadiums, which are going to be air-conditioned. Yeah, take that environment. How did they get it? How did Qatar 2022 get it? Because I was in Qatar back in 2010, and I remember seeing the adverts on the TV, because I was there during the World Cup in South Africa. I remember seeing the adverts on TV for Qatar 2022, and I thought, what? How? What? That's the most bonkers thing I've ever heard. Why would what? You'd have to build all these stadiums in the desert, and then what would you do about the heat, and how would you build them? And they got it. Why? Because they fucking cheated. Because they bribed those motherfuckers at FIFA. They cheated and they got it. And they got away with it. The same way that the Russians got away with getting Sochi. I mean, what the fuck? Who gave the Russians Sochi? Who gave them that? What? Why? After they fucking invaded Georgia? After they invaded Ukraine? What, are you going to give them a fucking Winter Olympics? You're kidding me, aren't you? You are absolutely kidding me. No, we said we would. We said we would. And then we're going to stand up against China and not send officials. We're going to send athletes, but not officials. Oh, okay. China's going to be quaking in its motherfucking boots, isn't it? There's a great episode. Thank you very much, Veg Pie, for my for super chat. 449 super chat there. Hi, Graham. I've not been on here a lot lately. Been working till 2 a.m. and all sorts. Enjoying your live stream while I'm having lunch. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. As I get more... I don't know. As I talk about things that I'm a bit more passionate about, I tend to swear. I tend to swear a lot, and I shouldn't, because it's naughty. And I'm very sorry if I put anyone off their lunch with all of my F-bombs and C-bombs and bomb-bombs. But it needs to be said that the people in charge are fuckers, and they're fucking you, and they're fucking me, and they're fucking getting away with it, and they just keep cheating. And they'll just always get away with it. The Tories cheated the rules last year. Everyone else had to abide by the rules. They didn't. The fucking police, the Metropolitan Police, they knew it was happening. There was a fucking Smoke alarm in Downing Street. Downing Street had a fucking smoke alarm. So the Metropolitan Police absolutely knew there were people there at that party. They were given instructions to leave via the back door. It was planned in advance. If it was a murder, it would be an open and shut case. There was pre-planned, you know? There was motive, opportunity. A victim. All of us. All the rest of us. All us dickheads who have grown up honestly believing that if you work hard and you abide by the rules, you'll make it in life. And I'm here to tell you, no, that's simply not true. Unless you're fucking incredibly lucky. And as lucky as some of us are, and I regard myself as a bloody lucky bastard. I mean, I went travelling to every country in the world. I didn't get ill. Probably because I was vaccinated against everything. I wasn't mugged. I didn't have anything robbed, really, except the hat once, and I bought a new one. And I got into every country. There wasn't a single country that denied me entry, which would have stopped the journey right there and then. Didn't happen. Made it to all of them. It's recorded in the Guinness Book of Records. And they took a year to go through all my evidence. So, there's that. Accredited by the nice people of Guinness World Records. So, yeah. Cheat and you will get away with it. Especially if you've got money. That's the message that this government has been sending out to us since 2010, basically. But it's just got worse and worse as time has gone on, because... like children, if you don't give them boundaries, if you don't say, hey, stop at this point, you've gone too far. If you don't tell them that something is inappropriate, they just don't fucking know. They also feel like they're not loved. It's a strange child psychology thing. where if you don't actually give them rules, they feel like you don't care about them, which is possibly true for some parents. I don't know. But the fact is that if you don't give children boundaries, they'll keep pushing and pushing and pushing to discover where they are. And these Tory fuckers they just keep pushing, and no one is pushing back at a level that they, is actually making a difference. And that's scary because they've got the police in the pocket. They've got the police, they've got all the business community. The business community should be up in arms about Brexit. Don't really hear much, do you? CPI puts out a thing now and again going, looks a bit grim. Inflation at 5.1%. 5.1%. Double what they were predicting. Anyway. One of the best things I've ever seen was in the England World Cup bid failed. I think it was in Trafalgar Square. They said Russia had won it, and they'd paid a lot of money. There was total silence till 3 teenage girls started applauding. I admire those girls till today, class. Indeed. Anyway, right, I'm going to head off because it's been an hour since I descended into your life and started screaming obscenities at our elected Prime Minister. Can't even say he's a not elected Prime Minister because we had an election. We had a general election, and that bastard won an 80-seat majority. But last night, in Prime Minister's Questions, he did actually say, today in Prime Minister's Questions, he did say that last night's vote was because of the Tory voters, the Tory party, and no acknowledgement of Labour's support getting it through. Wowzers, trousers. Okay, so I'm heading off to Liverpool for the weekend. Well, I'm going to take a COVID test before I go. I'm really paranoid now about Omicron. I've got a bit of a sore throat. I had a test on Monday and it came up negative. So I'll be doing that again before I go to Liverpool. But I'll try and do another show before Christmas. And then next week, obviously, we won't be able to do this for Prime Minister's Questions because there's no more Prime Minister's Questions till the new year. So this is the last Graham Hughes PMQs for this session. But I will be hopefully reviving this next year if timing allows. But also, I will be sorting out my timetable, so it's nice and obvious, when I'm going to be on your screen, whether that's on your laptop or your phone or your tablet or your smart TV. I don't know, but yeah, I'll be popping up like an arsehole, like a prolapsed arsehole. To entertain and ridicule, entertain you and ridicule the people running this monkey clown car on fire of the government at the moment, which is one of those things that I feel that we should discuss and give each other the ammunition we need for when we're talking to people who might not really understand what the implications are of what they vote for sometimes. Pineapple Boy, that's a super chat from Pineapple Boy saying stay safe. Thank you very much, Pineapple Boy. Really, really appreciate it. So Monday, what I'm going to do when I go to Liverpool, I'll take my invisibility cloak. Where is it? It's over there. I'm going to take my invisibility cloak, which is a green bit of material, and I'll be hopefully broadcasting a show from my parents in Liverpool next week, so I'll try and do that. Fingers crossed. We'll see what happens. I might not be going. If I've got bloody COVID, I'm not going anywhere. I'm just going to stay at home for Christmas. Oh well, never mind. So I'm thinking what I just said about cheating, that would probably make a good video, wouldn't it? Like a sort of 20-minute video, just all the things that people have cheated at the last 20 years and what got away with it, and how it's all linked together with money, whether it's Osama bin Laden or George W. Bush or Donald Trump or Boris Johnson or those fucking bankers who caused the credit crunch. The people with the money, the rules do not apply to them. So I think we have to cheat harder. I think we have to come up with cunning schemes to stop Conservatives going to vote. I mean, maybe some of us should think about becoming anti-vaxxers, once we're vaccinated. Just saying. Okay, right. It's burning down the UK instead of taking it over. Consider cheating. No, I mean, I could be Queen of the Ashes, which would be cool. I like cricket. Okay, right. I feel we did the cheating episode already. No, but I mean like a proper, not like a live off the cuff thing, but actually a scripted thing, which is what I was thinking. Ooh, Liverpool. I was around Lime Street Station, central area. Lovely day. Yeah, Liverpool is a beautiful, awesome, incredible city, and I will fight anyone who says otherwise. Okay, so I'll be on before Christmas. Okay, at least one more show before Christmas, maybe two if you're very lucky. But until then, thank you for watching. Thank you so much for the super chats. If you want to join the Patreon gang, head over to patreon.com/thatgingerscouser and chip in a couple of quids each month, and I'll continue to make live shows and do this kind of stuff for you. Obviously, there is a little bit of a critical mass that I need to get to in order to make it worth my while. Well, I say worth my while. That makes it sound like I would get out of bed for less than 20 grand, but no, it's in, so I can pay for the heating bills and stuff. A bit more sort of a bit more existential than getting out my trailer. Scripted. Graham does scripted ever. I've done a few scripted things, but no, I prefer to do improv. I prefer to do like off the cuff stuff. But the problem with that is when you're on a flow, it's great, but then you be tripped up. Like earlier, I got tripped up by just completely forgetting George W. Bush's name, and it's just like, and then you get that really horrible pregnant pause bit, which is difficult. And also it's quite hard to try and keep going back. So say if I go off on a tangent about one other thing, and then I've got to get back to the thing that I was talking about before. And I realised watching a few of these back afterwards that sometimes I just start making a point, say about Russia cheating in the Olympics, and then I'll go on about something else, and I'll never get back to talking about Russia cheating in the Olympics. So I'm going to kind of keep that in mind. But I think maybe as a skeleton, as a thing for setting it up to do a scripted stuff. I think so if you're doing like a very short form video for like TikTok or something, then having the script is a good idea. And what Marcus does now is he actually has an app on his phone which gives him an auto cue. So he's talking to his phone, but he's actually scripted. So it looks like it's kind of off the cuff, but actually he's reading it as he's doing it. So I might take a leaf out of Marcus's book and do that. Just do a little script and then do it with my phone and put it up as a YouTube short and as a TikTok. Right. Anyway, exactly one banker got jailed in 2008. Exception proving the rule. Were they from Iceland by any chance? Okay, they had a port for ship, Liverpool. I was surprised when I saw it. Liverpool is an amazing city. It is an amazing place. And started watching Get Back last night, the Beatles documentary. It was enjoyable. I only watched the first bit of it. I was already getting annoyed with Yoko. Terrible, I know. Right, okay, I will see you very soon. Until then, I'll say hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye. Here's my lovely patrons here. Geraldine, got Kiss, Cash Dummy. Oh, there's also my YouTube members here as well. We've got Kenty and Urash. We've got Daffyd. We've got Conservator. We've got Patrick and Richard and Simon and Max. We've got loads of wonderful people here. We've got Alex, Alexander. We've got Betty Biscuit. We've got Andrew A.B. We've got Darren C. We've got Joanna and Hurrian, I think, and Jennifer and Oliver B. You're all awesome. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.